The Greeks are an evocative lot and have an astounding legacy filled with murderous farm animals, flying horses, crazy birds that live and live pirates, giant lightsabers, and, well, cute kitty pictures. Before you saw Brad Pitt as Achilles in Troy and had Percy Jackson scurrying around, you had the Olympians, the Titans, and thousands of forgotten cosmic gods. So here's your guide, paragon to this god-crazy Greek mythology. At first, or so the legends say, there was chaos, this great dark void of absolute infinity. Chaos is the personification of the first few seconds of the Big Bang. All fundamental forces made no sense here, and the entire universe was a big mess. He is the first being in existence, basically like the outer reaches of deep space, what we can't understand. He, the Greeks, was everything that they did not understand and was the onset of life. Now, before we go any further, we must understand a few things. Much of what I say is inspired from the legendary Greek poet Hesiod's book, Theogony, which gives us a family tree of the entire Greek gods. So came the first primordial gods, Tartarus, or the eternal pit of the damned, Eros, who is more famously known as Cupid. Many texts will call him the son of Aphrodite, but the earlier cosmogonies make him a primordial god. And let's face it, what's better, a chubby little kid pampered by the goddess of love, or a devilishly handsome cosmic god who could make you fall in love with a piece of rock? Gaia, the earth mother, Erebus, or darkness, and Nyx, the eternal goddess of night. Together, these primordial gods became the cosmos and gave the basis for further life to fester. Gaia and Tartarus had their only son, the most deadly being in Greek mythology, the monstrous Typhoon who fought against the Olympian gods aeons later. Darkness and night, two consummated to have their daughter, Hemera or day. Paradoxical, isn't it? Night giving birth to day. They even had a son named Ether or the heavens. He is the pure air that the gods breathe. They don't like carbon dioxide. Today, Ether is the widely debated name given to the fifth classical element of nature, or the upper air. It is the part beyond the horizon that we cannot dare to classify. Gaia also conceived many children alone, like Father Uranus, the first lord of the sky, Pontus, the lord of the waters, and the 10 mountain gods array. Night also gave birth to many minor gods, such as Thanos, or the god of absolute death, Nemesis, the goddess of retribution, Hypnos, the sleepy god, and so on. These early gods and goddesses kept reproducing in between themselves until there were enough personifications of the different forms of life for it to actually start appearing in a somewhat lesser form. Gaia, the ultimate mother, along with her son Uranus, gave birth to the legendary set of next generation gods. By now, I must probably warn you that Greek mythology is the Game of Thrones of the ancient world. Moving on, these gods, called the Titans, would eventually take over the world. But there were kids that Gaia and her new husband, Uranus, had that were not so good. Their offspring included Cyclopes, one-eyed monsters, Echidna, the snake demon, the Centimanes, or hundred-handed giants, and these monsters ravaged and savaged the earth, and destruction was everywhere. Uranus picked them up and tossed them into Tartarus, the eternal prison. Tensions flared between him and Gaia, distraught, called upon her first children, the Titans, who were now all grown up and strong. So, when Uranus was on a visit to the earth, he was ambushed by the Titan Kronos and his brothers. While they all held him down, Kronos slashed and cut his godly father into pieces and threw him into Tartarus. Uranus cursed Kronos that one day, just like him, his son too would chop him up and fling him into the depths of Tartarus. But Kronos laughed it off and attributed himself as the personification of time and became the Lord of the universe. Where Uranus's blood had spilled, come forth winged demons known as the Furies or the Fates, who immediately fled into the darkness of Tartarus. Other drops of sky blood fluffed to form gentler creatures, namely fauns and naiads, nature spirits. Your anuses, testicles, and blood mixed with the seawater and fizzled and bubbled to form the most beautiful woman. Yes, you guessed it right. The Olympian goddess of love, Aphrodite. Well, Kronos became king and married his sister, Rhea. His 4 brothers who helped him win the cosmic throne, Hypatus, Coeus, Creus, and Hyperion, all became lords of the 4 corners of the earth. He freed his monstrous siblings, who were now sober and excelled at craftsmanship from working with the stones in the pits of Tartarus. Well, there's nothing much to do there, is it? And who built him a magnificent palace on Mount Othrys. He brought the entire set of gods, old and new, into order, and for the first time in history, life on earth prospered. The Titan Age brought along with it peace, if only for a while, and green lands and tranquil waters. But alas, the evil he had inherited from Uranus manifested itself inside him, and soon his father's prophecy became the devil in his dreams. He grew brash and wild. When Rhea had their children, the next generation of Olympians, the curse was finally upon him. The famous story of how Kronos then ate up all of his children and how only the youngest kid survived, a boy named Zeus, then follows. Zeus was secretly hidden by his mother and whisked away as he grew up on the Greek island of Crete, and when he was ready and strong, he rescued his siblings and waged war with the Lord of the Cosmos in the Great War of Titanomachy in Thessaly. Remember the deadly typhoon? Well, Kronos unleashed him on the Olympian gods, and after a battle spanning 10 years, it finally ended with the new gods winning. Zeus now had his thunderbolt, with which he smote Kronos into submission as he was dragged down the steps of an ancient prison and flung inside into the hands of a father and demons waiting for retribution. Zeus, the new lord of the universe, ruled over the sky. His brother Poseidon became the lord of the seas. Hades chose the realm of death and made Thanos his servant. The Cyclops and Smithies, once again freed, built him a wonderful palace on top of Mount Olympus. Hera married her brother Zeus. That seems to happen a lot. And became the new goddess of motherhood. They had 2 children together. Ares, the god of war, and Hephaestus, the crippled one, the godsmith who was thrown from atop Mount Olympus by his parents because, well, he was ugly.
Zeus also sired Athena on his own, the goddess of battle and wisdom. He also had the twin gods Apollo and Artemis with Leto,
a Titan goddess. One hell of a guy. Well, these were the good gods that we needed, and finally the golden age of Olympian Greece began. They restored peace, and well, it's been that way ever since. I can't see any effing gods up in the sky. Can you? They built the sort of world we see today and live in, and they ruled over, well, who did they rule over exactly?
Turns out a guy named Prometheus, a titan who was spared by the new gods, was playing around with mud, and he accidentally breathed life into some small figurines, and boom, you have the first humans. He even stole some fire from the royal palace of Olympus and gave it to his small lovelies.
Well, you'd think he should be awarded? Nah, Zeus chained him on a rock and made an eagle eat his heart out. And as he was immortal, his heart just kept regenerating and being eaten every day for like eternity.
Well, we now had humans and their funny little civilizations coming up, and the world was starting to progress. There was sure to be some
Casualties called demigods. The same humans that were initially hated and loathed by the gods now became their greatest ally and pleasure. We sacrificed the intestines and entrails of goats and were fellows to them after all. The most famous demigods to have ever lived include
Hercules, Theseus, Achilles, Perseus, and the Helen of Troy, among many others. And of course, our very own demigod, Dionysius, who got converted into an immortal god by his father Zeus because of his great achievements, which were, creating wine. Yeah.
he practically got a high seat on the freaking council of gods. I mean, I make my own smoothie every day. And so with heroes, you obviously needed some more demons and gods. And so we have
Chimeras and dragons, hydras and cyclopes, Cerberus the three-headed dog, the beautiful Minotaur, Medusa and her gorgons, to name a few.
well, the world got its way under these Olympians, and ancient Greek culture has influenced the modern world in many ways that you cannot understand. The maths test you want to study for? Can't remember alpha beta? Who's to blame for? The Pythagoras theorem was a bloody Euclid's axiom. The Greeks to blame for? Well, don't worry yet. They left some good stuff too. That God of War game you are playing as Kratos? That, for instance.
They even gave us democracy, philosophy, and the Olympic Games.
Well, this was a genealogy of the gods, and I'll be making some more mythology-based videos on myths and legends sometime. So, while we're waiting for another apocalyptic war to happen between the gods, let's just keep on tuning on to YouTube, because, you know, it's such a wonderful thing. Quite frankly, makes people like me earn a few extra bucks. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Do like and subscribe. Also, follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Thanks for the views. Do share. Till then, Paragon.